It's an industry that I generally love. I have a passion for. I eat, sleep, I live for fitness.
No, you need to be obsessed. You need to wake up, think about it. You need to go to bed, think about your clients, think about your progress, think about what you can do better.
Genuinely, just be patient and take your time. That is you've got to take it all in the right steps. You've got to nail what you do in person before you go online.
I don't like to talk about fear. The fears is usually something that makes your worries real.
Welcome to the Coaching Ignited podcast. My name is Alex Povey. If you're a new listener, the show is released every Sunday on all the major platforms, including Spotify and iTunes. So be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a show. Every week we invite a new guest from the fitness industry or coaching space to share their personal journey in business. We will deep dive into actionable ideas, strategies and systems that you can apply in your life and business too. You can also access free weekly content in our private Facebook group by searching Coaching Ignited. And if you're a face-to-face personal trainer with room to take on additional clients, head over to coachingignited.com where you can apply for our 30-day Client Accelerator program and find out more about our business, sales and marketing training platform. Now let's get into this week's episode. Enjoy the show. Hey, welcome back to another episode. Today we've got Rich Wellington, a fellow salesman coming on who's a coach, mentor, business owner, and he's got a ton of experience in the field of sales. Now, to a lot of you, that sounds like a dirty word, but sales is really the cornerstone to building a successful business. If you want to find dream clients, if you want to make more money, if you want to have more freedom, if you want to charge more for your services, sales is really going to facilitate that. So this is by far one of the most important pieces that we cover on this podcast. And so I really want you to listen intently to some of the things that we discuss on this podcast. Maybe get a pen and paper, get a coffee. It's quite a long one, but there's going to be a ton of things in here that should give you some moments where you think, okay, I need to approach sales in a different way. And we're also going to give you some guidance, some strategy, but also some resources and things to really hone in on that's going to help you in your careers, in your businesses. So let's get into this week's episode. Right, we're in session. We're live.
Oh, am I allowed to talk now?
Yeah, you're allowed to talk.
Ah, wicked. Well, pleased to meet you. It's so nice to be here.
For anyone just getting into this podcast, we've been laughing behind the scenes for the last 5 minutes and talking about how Rich has positioned himself for this podcast. I don't know if we should reveal that to people, should we?
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm absolutely, as you say up here in Yorkshire, we're sweating cobs. Alex has just had me running around the house looking for Apple AirPods, so I've had to take my top off. And the other reason why I've got my top off is for the first time yesterday, I had my chest waxed. So at the minute, I'm nursing a little bit of a sore chest. So it just feels nice to have the cold breeze just blowing across my loins and my torso. So yeah, I'm semi naked, but yeah, not fully naked as Alex asked.
There you go, guys. So I hope everyone's got a good picture of how Rich is set himself up. He's going to introduce himself in a second. And this is really going to be a fun podcast, I think, based on how it started already. We're basically chucking two sales guys on a show. We're going to shoot the shit, aren't we? We're going to have a bit of a chinwag.
Yeah.
Hopefully cover some valuable stuff that's going to help people. And the theme, I shot you over an idea earlier today. We're going to call it the Secrets to Selling Fitness. That was
Nice.
the sexiest kind of tagline we could think of, right?
Yeah, I think the first secret is there is no actual bloody secret. Just spoiler, he dies. Yeah, spoiler alert. Yeah, there's no actual secret. As I'm sure all of you guys that listen to Alex religiously he probably alludes to the fact that there is no bloody secret. So I'm really excited to be here, dude. And you Tell me when you want me to say what and keep talking. Otherwise, I'll just keep rabbiting like I am doing now and just chewing up people's ears.
Now, let's get into it then. So I want to get into your backstory first. We don't have to go back to birth, right? Because that'll be...
The problem you've had is you've listened to me talk on George and James's Remote Revolution.
I've heard some of the interviews. We don't have to go back to birth, but anything relevant that's going to bring people up to speed, anyone that doesn't know you right now, listening to this podcast, let's go back to that point and let's bring them up to today and why we're speaking, because you're not just a person sat half naked in a room. You've actually got some expertise to share with people today. So
that makes it even stranger, doesn't it? That makes it even weirder that I'm classed as an expert, but I'm just here, naked with all sorts of weird things on my desk. But yeah, so pleased to meet you all, and for you listening on the subway right now, I'm coming in your ears. But my name's Rich Wellington, and for a number of years, I didn't actually realise this myself. In all honesty, I've been a bit of a sales expert, a bit of a go-to guy for specifically, I guess, in the health and fitness industry. But I help businesses across lots of broad terrains all over the world. Create sales teams, train their staff, implement sales systems and processes. And I've been really grateful to have worked with some of the best guys in the course creation industry, health and fitness industry, people that own massive gym chains over in London and Dubai and stuff. So yeah, it's really exciting. It's really exciting, but it's one of those things that if I was to rewind you a little bit, just to give you a little bit of a backstory, I guess I've been selling and been exposed to, sort of helping people, because I guess that's what's at the core of me. I'm an ENFP, for anyone that's interested, sun sign Leo, moon sign Gemini. So I've got all these different sorts of weird personalities. And I had a bit of an unconventional upbringing. And around about the age of 10, after, we sort of struggled with money for a lot of years, Mum created this family business. And this was back in sort of the late 90s, 1998. And from being sort of 10 years old, I was exposed to people coming over to our house and buying ink cartridges and buying graphic design work and business cards and stuff. And then we had a couple of shops that we created from that, and it blew up to be pretty massive, in all honesty. And my mum became a millionairess, and we lived a pretty wicked lifestyle. But one of the biggest things, and it still gets me excited now when I think back, working in the shops, that was where I really felt because I left school when I was 15. So between 15 and sort of 19, I was truly in my element where, I had control of a couple of guys that worked, inside the shops with me and stuff. And I just loved people coming in with that clueless look on their face, not knowing what they wanted. I guess a little bit intimidated to ask technical questions because we specialised in making computers and repairing them, as well as all the graphic design stuff. And then, half an hour, 60 minutes later, they walk out with a big smile on their face, and they've parted ways with the amount of money that they feel has been balanced with what they've got in terms of value. And I have a full hat. So that was always really important to me from being really young, is to feel like I was giving a great service, and entertaining people, as well as actually providing them with the actual thing that they'd come in for in the first place. So I guess if we were sort of rooting this to secrets of, selling fitness, you can learn techniques and strategies and tactics all you like, but if you're not prepared to let your own personality sort of shine through, then there'll never be any deep buy-in and deep connection with that person or group of people that you're actually communicating with. And that's something, again, I didn't realize at the time that I was actually doing, but as I've got a little bit older and observed other people, that's, it's vitally important. And then anyway, just to skip past, otherwise I'll just keep talking forever. I went on to sell cars and vans, sort of commercial vehicles, as well as stuff to sort of general public. And then I worked for a business selling importing specialist woods, and I sold log cabins all the way from sort of dog houses all the way up to actual full houses, like 3-story log cabin houses, and that was a pretty cool job. And then I was also working the doors at the time, so I'm not a massive guy, 6'2", 6'3", 18 stone, something like that, and it just sort of fit. And I love being around people as well. And I didn't really drink because I've always been into my fitness. But I remember having this revelation one night when I was stood on the doors that I'm not living up to my potential. Sort of watching all these drunk people stumble around and stuff. And I was like, there's got to be something more than this. And I guess I missed the technical side of what I was doing in the family business as well. So I started Googling when I got back that night. It was early hours of the morning. And I was like, okay, what best careers in the world, best jobs, what can I do? And I'd always continued from being really young, again, like sort of 10, 11 years old. As soon as I was surrounded by CDR, DVDR and computers that could, copy stuff, I always had like a little side hustle of ripping MP3s and selling DVDs to my teachers and all that sort of stuff. So I still had all those bits sort of going on. But I guess I kind of wanted to get straight, if you like, and have like a serious career. And I found, Army, Royal Air Force, sort of be the best, that sort of mentality. And I was like, I can fucking do that. So I went to the careers office the next day. I went over to Hull, and I ended up approaching the Royal Air Force guy, and he told me all about, you can be part of something pretty special. You can come and do IT. You learn how to service radars. You can do intelligence. So that's what I opted to do. So I was like an IT intelligence specialist, and it's pretty good at what I did. I was part of a really small group of people throughout the whole of all three forces that were able to read certain things at certain levels of secrecy. So again, sort of push my way into the places that I needed to be. But then I lacked satisfaction with what I was doing. So I decided to leave. Before I left, hold on, have a bit of my coffee. I created a medical supplies business. Again, I just sort of looked around and just thought, what's everyone asking for? So we became one of the UK's biggest underground providers of needles, syringes, sharps bins, alcohol wipes. Like our main buyers were, drug users, steroid users and things like that in the UK. But we also imported and exported large medicinal batches of all these, again, syringes and needles to like Africa and places that needed medicine as well. So I created that business before I even left the Air Force. And I was making a ton of money. But the problem I had when I transitioned out of leaving the Air Force and doing that was I caught a glimpse of myself in the mirror, Alex, in my office one day. And pantpreneur was something that I sort of, called myself back then. It's sort of 2010, something like that, 2011. And I had the cat that I just got on my lap. I didn't have to leave the house, to run this business. It's just telephone. The delivery guy would turn up with stuff. I'd relabel it, send it fucking back out. And I caught a glimpse of myself in the mirror, and I was like, "What are you doing? You wanted to do something to to maximize your potential and have fun, and you just fucking sat here stroking this cat, selling needles and syringes." So I decided to can it. Just for my own sort of mental state of mind, if nothing else. And I went out into the local community. And at that point, I'd started moving back towards sort of hometown. So I was born in Scarborough and I grew up in a little town called Driffield over here in East Yorkshire. And at that time, I'd actually moved to Malton, one of the little villages around there, which is North Yorkshire, near York. And I approached one of the sports centres. And the CEO at the time, he was a consultant, and he'd been brought in by the council to basically maintain all the sports centres, swimming pools and stuff in the area. It turns out he was actually an ex-Royal Marine. So when I'd contacted them and said, this is what I'm sort of capable of doing, here's what I'm looking to sort of achieve, he basically called me up personally and said, come into the office and have a chat with me. And we just hit it off straight away, both been ex-services. Great guy, taught me a lot about business. And it almost felt like, he was mentoring me a little bit. Like, he used to send me to all sorts of massive sports centres and massive facilities all over the UK. And basically, it's like, right, here's your homework, here's what you need to go study, here's all the questions you need to ask, and then I want you to come back to me and like report, like, what have you learned about their facility. So I used to go out and do stuff like that. And I learned a lot about how to run sports centres and, self-fitness and stuff, at least like over-the-counter sort of membership stuff. I decided to leave there because, again, there was really nowhere else I could sort of go inside the company. So I did that for about a year. And at the time, I decided I wanted to do my lifeguard qualification. I went and did my level 2 and level 3, personal training qualifications. And I started looking for a gym of my own. And I went to this gym in Malton. And again, I just hit it off straight away with the guy that had recently just bought it. And he was like lacking customers, he didn't know what to do really. And we became friends. And over a few months, he basically said, I think you should come and do some classes. I think you should come and do some stuff in here. I'll help you promote it. We'll walk around town with flyers and stuff. I was like, let's fucking do it. So I just dropped everything. Always typically my style. Just fucking put everything else down I was doing in my life. I was like, right, that's it now. I'm going to have a fucking fitness business. And I went from selling fitness classes for £2.75. That's what we kicked it off at. For no other reason than, like, what price? I don't know, fucking £2 or £3. All right, I'll meet you in the middle, £2.75. And we packed it out. It took us about 3 to 6 months to basically just have all full classes. Prices, we took them up to like sort of £6 a person. Started doing personal training with people, just had a full book basically of individuals. And then it took us about a year to basically dominate that town. And again, just providing great service and just going out. We were walking on the streets and in the shops and just making friends with people, like genuinely, not necessarily to always win business, but because that was our community. So we wanted to do a great job of getting people happy and healthy. And I basically lived in the gym, which is probably a true story for a lot of you listening to this. I was getting up at 5 a.m. and I wasn't getting back, home till 10 o'clock at night. Now, that isn't a woe is me story either, by the way. That's I was doing that because I fucking loved it, and that's still less hours than I was doing in the military and inside the family business anyway. So super easy. And over time, I guess I realised that I don't have any more hours in the day. And I was hitting sort of consistently sort of £5,000-6,000 a month, just on my own, no other sort of sources of income. I was like, I reckon I can smash through the ceiling of this. And I sort of logically, intelligent guys, like, what do I need to change about this, about this model in order to make some more money and not have to necessarily get up at 5 and get home at 10. So I started looking for like business coaches. I literally typed in Google. I think it was the beginning of 2015. I was like, business coach. Now, at this point in time, I'd only ever experienced doing business like in person, brick and mortar, things like that where you actually, shook hands with people and signed deals or whatever. I was familiar that people were doing business, obviously online and overseas, but this was my first time experiencing buying this sort of coaching. Anyway, it took me a few months. I did my due diligence, as I'm sure, most of you listening, sort of do. And I encourage that massively because I guess it's important for you to know like who you're getting into bed with and spending your money with, and can they do the thing that they said they were going to do. I decided to go with a company called Fitpreneurs, a chap called Simon Lovell at the time. And I really married with the testimonials and what they were doing and just the energy of the company. And I decided, when I booked a call, typical thing, watched a webinar, booked a call, scheduled it. And the guy that spoke to me, after 2 or 3 minutes, I kind of knew where it was going. I could feel the energy of what the call was all about. I'd never experienced what now everyone's calling like a high-ticket sales call at this point. But I was ready to buy. So after like 3 minutes, I was just like, hey, listen, don't mean to be rude or anything, but I've got to be somewhere. Do you mind just telling me the price so I can just pay? Like, I'm happy just to fucking jump into this. I trust whatever's fucking going on behind the scenes. Just tell me how much it is. Here's my card. Let's do it. I won't say the guy's name. He has a media company now when he was still working for Simon. But yeah, I think he was a little bit shocked that I just sort of jumped in. But I think that's the sort of attitude that people need to take, because from that, I think it was about $6,000-7,000 paid all at once. 2-3 weeks into changing the business model, we moved to selling, high ticket packages, real small groups, more like personal training rather than lots of fitness classes. We did 30K in the first few weeks. And I was the only person that was selling, the actual services and the products. So, we scaled pretty fast because that's what we needed, And I think that's again a crucial thing for a lot of trainers to hear. Is sometimes you need to be able to dominate your own space and get to a certain level and be so like overwhelmed with current clients before you actually turn that switch. Because then I was just like a duck to water. I was like shown, like, hey, right, sell for this price, wicked. And how do how do you guys normally sell it? And they're like, well, here's the framework. I was like, oh, sweet, that's kind of what I already do. But now I've got a little bit of not a script necessarily, but step 1, step 2. Do this, do that. And it was absolutely fucking marvelous. And then from there, I realized after doing that for, 9-12 months, that the part of the business that I actually enjoyed the most was being in front of people and showing them what was possible, the sales portion of it. And I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to help trainers just like I've been helped, because it's fucking amazing. So again, in true Rich style, I put everything down and I went knocking on the Fitpreneur's door. I was like, listen, I bet I could sell better than your guys. I said, I'm a great testimonial and I truly believe, in this coaching and this product. And I basically knocked on his door until he let me go work for him. And I went and worked for them for 13 months, made some great money, helped a lot of people. And then we parted ways. And then I've sort of been richwellington.com since then. So since about, end of 2016, beginning of 2017, something like that. And then basically since then, I've had the opportunity to work with, guys that have sold for Russell Brunson and, mastermind clients of Sam Ovens and people like that. It's been wicked. Honestly, it's been really fantastic just to think that I went from selling fucking DVDs to Dodgy Dave, in my family shop when I was 15, and now, people come knocking on my door and sending me emails asking me all sorts of fucking wicked advice, and I just, got to stay humble with it. I think sometimes because it could easily take your ego down a strange path. So anyway, as condensed as it could, Alex, that's a little bit about me and my sales experience, life experience.
There we have it, guys. I think that's the probably the longest intro in the history of this podcast, right?
Well, now there's you can ask me loads of weird questions and stuff, and people don't need to wonder who this fucking guy is. So I could have done it faster, but
it's great. It's great, and I want to go back specifically to something that I heard you say about that decision to get on the phone call with this company that you'd been watching. You'd be looking at their testimonials and stuff. And I think this is relevant to what we do and the whole sales process as a whole. Is you went into that situation and you were just ready to buy. So they didn't even need to take you through a sales process and you were ready to buy. So this is potentially a secret here that we're uncovering, that the sale doesn't necessarily start on the call or in the console or in the taster. It starts a long time before that. And what are the things that happened? What were you exposed to? What impressions were you served before you got on that call that helped you make such a concrete buying decision and spend a lot of money?
Yeah. So, for me, I'm quite a compulsive buyer. I sit in that category, you see, and not everyone sits in that category. I just fucking go and get a massive house, get fucking BMW, do this, do that. Do you know what I mean? If the money's there, I'll just want to spend it. But money's attracted to speed. something I've learned over the last few years. So if you just sat on a little nest egg of money, that also creates complacency. I've found, oh, it's all right. I don't need to work as hard. I've got all this money in the fucking bank. Get it spent. Invest it in something that's going to bring you more money because you need to continue making money, right? But what was I exposed to in terms of that business? I watched all the testimonials, and I'm great with people, so I can see where people's pains are. Quite intuitive because I got brought up by women, so I've got that sort of female element about me. And I was watching all these testimonials, and egotistically, I was thinking, I could do fucking way better than you. I could do that. There's like nothing any of you guys have said that you struggled with that I can't overcome or achieve myself. So I was happy. Like, if they'd have said 10 grand, 15 grand, I would have found the money because I wanted to know what took them from being where I was at to fucking where I wanted to be, which was like, what's this fucking secret that everyone's, going on about, and when you're sort of seasoned in sales and stuff, I'm like, there's something I'm missing here. You know what I mean? So the conditioning was just, the testimonials for me more than anything else. That was just something I just watched. I watched every single fucking one of them. And then as well, I went and friended a couple of the people from the testimonials. I dropped them a message and I was like, how are we getting on with this, with this coaching? I was like, it's fucking mint. I was like, class. I was like, I have to go book a call today. I'm going to fucking buy it. And they're like, yeah, do it. The best thing you ever do. And that's exactly what I did. I just jumped straight into it.
I think like we're uncovering some things here that we wouldn't normally cover in terms of like when you think about sales. Like when we think about sales, it's about, okay, taking people through a phone call or a script or handling objections, when in actual fact, the sales process is much broader when you're in business. And what's clear from there is they've built an amazing product. They've documented the results and they're getting great results and their customers are speaking about them in a positive way. So they're effectively warming you up before you get to the phone call to then make the sales process much smoother.
Exactly. And that's why a lot of businesses now, they call their people that are on the phone, they call them closers, because they've done such a great job with their marketing and their messaging up front that's basically what they're there for. They're basically just to, explain like, hey, like, let's make sure this is a fucking good fit, genuinely, as long as that business is, filled with people that have got your best intentions at heart, let's say that, because I think a lot of that stuff about, we're going to make sure this is a good fit. I think people just fucking read off scripts. I don't know if Alex agrees with me or not, and sometimes that's a little bit annoying because that makes everyone else look like they're bank robbers. And then, you get to ask questions about the program, talk about cost. Usually at that point, if you've done a great job of your marketing and your messaging, the only objection should be, oh, fucking hell, I've not got 20,000 right now. Do you do a payment plan? Yeah, we do. Sweet. Let's fucking get started. It shouldn't be any more complicated than that, in all honesty.
I want to make this super practical for anyone listening, because there'll be like personal trainers in commercial gyms, maybe working out studios, maybe some people that are building online businesses and client bases. And they might not have all this credibility, testimonials, and really strong marketing yet. And so it's kind of crucial when they do get interest and they get people on a phone call or in a consultation or in a taster, that process is pretty solid to position them in a compelling way to help make a buying decision. So I'd like to dive into that, maybe some like key steps or some things that you share with your students or clients that really just helps them get into like a good process of sales, of selling people, selling fitness. What would be some of the key things that you teach your students or clients?
Yeah, got it. I mean, I coined something about a year and a half ago now. I was like, how can I turn what I know into like, a methodology? because it's quite difficult, because like yourself, Alex, you've been involved with sales for a long time, and it just becomes sort of instinct, when you're talking to people and you've got the best intentions at heart. But then when you finally go to put pen to paper and be like, right, how do I carbon copy what I do? It's like, oh shit. I've got a great friend. He's called Simon Mitchell. He owns Iron Paradise Fitness, and he's very analytical. And he helped me take my crazy ENFP brain and put it onto paper and sort of organize it all, and managed to call it the 3C method. Dead simple. It's just communicate, connect, and close. And this is basically what I've used and sort of honed in on without realizing from being sort of 9-10 years old. So my personal belief is that you have to do a great job of being a communicator first and foremost. If you've not got the personal confidence, to overcome like your own stuff, you're never going to be able to sit in front of, stand in front of, or be on the phone with somebody else, talking about their problems. So one of the first things I actually get people to do is, we do it like a personal breakthrough for that person. So before I even work with somebody, like I help them uncover like what's stopping them from, I don't know, raising their prices, being scared of getting on their phone, or, like taking phone calls and things like that. And usually it's something that's happened to them, when they were younger, or, some limiting belief, something they've experienced, in their childhood, etc. And then once people figure out that, hey, I can fucking overcome that, I could probably overcome anything, and I really want to help other people do that, they've got the excitement then to want to be in the sales situation. And then, so there's obviously a lot more to that, but then the connection part is like understanding you have to be present with people when you're on the phone or when you're in person. If you're distracted by your own shit or stuff that's going on around you, you're never, ever going to be able to listen to the depth that person needs. Because let's be honest with each other, if someone's applying to come and talk to you, an expert, a personal trainer, a nutritionist, whatever you are, they've got problems in their life, right? So you're not doing them a fucking service if you're not sat there being present, both ears wide open, making notes, loads of eye contact. If you're not doing that, then what's the fucking point? So you've got to be able to connect. But usually you're not able to do that until you've started understanding that you need to break through your own shit. So there's a little bit of a process with this. And then, excuse me, the closing portion, that's where the least amount of weight's actually put in this process. So if you were looking at like a little bar chart, communication, like we spend a lot of time, breaking through your own stuff, learning how to communicate. The connection portion, like I send people out to the shops and I say to them, like, next time you're just scanning your veggies through at Tesco's, just get into a conversation with the person at the zapper. Ask them, like, hey, what's going on with your day? How are you doing? And skip past that whole like surface level stuff. Be like, no, really? Like lean into the fucking space and be like, no, really? Are you all right? Like, what's going on? And see if you can start to elicit some emotion just for some, from some normal day-to-day things that you're actually doing. The closing portion, at that point, if you've done a great job of communicating, a great job of connecting with that person, and you're heartfelt in meaning in what you're doing, then that person will want to come and join you. They will want to buy the solution to their problem. Like Alex, you'll have a fucking framework and, like script help and things like that. That's all really useful. But until you fix the human element that goes into these strategies and tactics, all of the other shit's fucking useless. That's what I've experienced, from working with people. But there you go. There's a little bit of an idea.
No, I couldn't agree more with that, because like we talk about these scripts and methodologies and framework and all that stuff, and it's great and it's good to have a structure, but it is still a human interaction. It's still a human experience. And so you have to be human. You have to like use extreme empathy and, like you said, listen intently to the problems that they're telling you to help you solve the problem. So you can have all the scripts and methodologies and frameworks in the world, but if you can't, like you said, communicate and connect properly, then it's going to seem too superficial, and then there's going to be lack of trust. And if there's lack of trust, then there's not going to be any commitment.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes as well, dude, you know, people have to be really, like, you have to be brutally honest with yourself. You know, because I've met a lot of people and they're just, like, their heart's just not in wanting to sell. You know, so if you're one of those people, I don't know, sometimes you might need to look at having someone else come into the business and do that for you. You know, maybe figure out your reasons why, or if it's just that you don't want to do that role, that's fucking cool. You know, but I find most people, they want to take that thing on. They want to be able to facilitate the change, you know, for that person. And that's, you know, that's exciting when people are like that.
Let's just explore that that point you just made then about people sometimes wanting to take a step back, or they want to avoid sales. People say it all the time to me, I don't want to be salesy, I don't want to be pushy, right? We hear these terms all the time. What do you think is going on there, Rich? From like working with sales guys and being in sales yourself, what do you think is going on in the minds of those people who are kind of pushing it away versus embracing it as something that they need to build a business?
Yeah, dude. I think even now, you know, with the amount of, you know, I've got my phone here in my hand and I can access anything in the world, and we're here on laptops and we're doing this amazing thing, talking from one side of the country to the other. But people are still programmed to believe that salespeople are just there to take people's pants down and steal their wallets, right? So if you've not experienced being like a sales professional and it's your thing and you're like, you know, proud to do it, or maybe even like myself, I didn't realize I was a salesperson. You know, I was just consider myself to be a communicator, you know, a facilitator more than anything else. Unfortunately, the masses, you know, if you threw someone onto a car sales pitch straight away, you know, if one of the guys or the girls starts approaching, you're like, oh shit, here we go. Gonna try and fucking sell us something. You know, if you go into a shop, even now, you know, you go to, like, over here in the UK, got PC World and your Currys and stuff. You know, you go into one of those shops, you get people approaching you. If you watch what the customer does, if you stand back and watch how they react to people, oh no, they don't even turn their bodies towards that salesperson. They're just like, oh, they keep their back or their side, like protecting themselves as if it's like a threat. So I think when people take on the responsibility of running their own business, and all of a sudden it's like, you're going to have to sell yourself. You're going to have to sell your products. You're going to have to sell your services. Straight away, there's all this preconditioning that comes to the forefront of their minds. Oh, no, I don't like being sold to. That's probably a big one for a lot of people. People that struggle to sell don't like being sold to. They don't like spending money. You know, that's not necessarily a broad stroke statement, but I do tend to find that with a lot of people.
I agree with that point, because I've heard that same thing come up. People are like, oh, I don't want to be that guy that approaches people. I don't want to be that guy that sells things, or that girl that sells things, because they're drawing on those experiences of not enjoying the process of being sold to.
Yeah.
Because they've probably never been sold to by an expert. Because if they'd been sold to by an expert, they'd know that it's nothing more than a very in-depth conversation where they're actually there to help you make a conscious decision to make a change.
Yeah, absolutely. And if for anyone that has been involved in sales, you know, for a while, or even just for a little bit, you can be able to resonate with this. You know, I say no to more people than I say yes to. You shouldn't, you know, if you are a fitness business owner, you shouldn't be pitching, i.e. offering services to every single person you speak to. Because the whole idea of having that consult, that breakthrough call, you know, whatever you've coined it, is to genuinely find out, like, can you help this person, and are they in like a ready position to come and take on the responsibilities and the high level or degree of change that you're offering? Because that's what it's all about, right? We're all about transforming people's lives. So until you really get into, and I like the way Sam Ovens talks about it. He talks about accurate diagnosis. I love that, because that's exactly what it is. And that positions you then as, like, in your own mind at least, unless you are a real doctor, as a doctor, right? Because we all put ultimate trust into doctors, or at least most of us do. I know some people don't like doctors, but anyway, that's like preconditioning again for the masses, is you go into a doctor's office and you're just like, fucking tell me what the fucking solution is. I've told you the problem, my pants around my ankles. What cream do I need to fucking put on this, doc? So you need to hold the same sort of line when you're helping people inside your health and fitness business. They've come to you with a genuine problem. So provide the accurate diagnosis. Like, here's what it is. Here's what we're going to fucking do about it. Here's the offer. If you can't help them, tell them you can't help them. Send them to the person that can down the street, or, the other trainer online, or whatever it is,
Sounds like someone's giving you access to my program, Rich. That's pretty much my whole approach to this. Sales is pretty much positioning yourself as a doctor.
Yeah, I call it the doctor framework.
Yeah, the same. Like, because I've got the same experience from being a consultant, a property consultant, where you position yourself as an expert and you have to do a diagnosis just like a doctor would. And you do the correct diagnosis in order to prescribe the best solution.
Yeah.
And so it's just a process that you go through to do the correct questioning, but then give the correct product in response to the questioning, just like a doctor would.
Yeah.
So I love that analogy. And I think that's all people need to really think about in a process like that, is diagnose something, find a painful problem, and then basically give them a prescription, a solution, provided you can fix it.
Yeah.
Right. You can't give them the wrong pills or medication if you're just not up to the job. You got to step down, because you owe it to people, particularly if you're selling fitness, health and nutrition, and you're not qualified, then you shouldn't be taking it on. But I think that's where the difficult line is for a lot of people, because when you've not got enough clients, then you're going to want to take anything you can get your hands on.
Yeah.
That's where the gray areas are in the sales process. And maybe that's why people don't like salespeople, because they don't always feel like they're doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah, exactly. And I get this. There's a little bit of a catch-22, for some personal trainers. Like, I'm like yourself. I'm connected with a lot of personal trainers on Facebook and everywhere else, and I see this kind of post a lot, right? Where they'll say, obviously these people haven't received our help, Alex. I'm going to can it in. Not making any money as a PT. Tried my hardest. I've won all these competitions. Looking for a career change. That's sad, right? That's sad. But then there's this catch-22 where this person's like, "Oh, I don't want to be salesy," but they're in like genuine need. Like we all require money. We all require that exchange of energy. If you don't want to necessarily look at money and think of it as a bad thing. Like, if I give you this, you need to give me that. It's really fucking as simple as that. But then going into a situation where you need money, right? That makes everything completely fucking different. I don't know what your experience is of, working with your people, but when people are like desperate for money, it doesn't matter like what amazing frameworks, tactics, strategies, or whatever you use. You can fucking meditate before a call if you like. But if you take the wrong energy into that situation, people know, whether it's conscious or subconscious, that you're trying to take something from them rather than give to them, right?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. And this is something that I explain to our students, but also something that I practice myself, is like removing myself from the situation as much as possible. So taking my needs to sell or make money in that one moment, removing myself from the situation, and then deploying extreme empathy and basically getting into the seat with them or next to them and seeing it from their perspective and helping them make a decision based on where they're at and not making it about me. Sales shouldn't be about us. yeah, we get rewarded. Yes, we make a sale. Yes, we can make a commission. Great. But it's about helping other people. And particularly with fitness professionals who say, I don't want to come across as salesy. Well, guess what? You're being selfish because it's not about you. It's about them. If you chose this industry, you didn't choose it to make money. You could make a ton more money in other industries. Generally, people choose this industry to help people.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't be about you. It should be about them and their needs and what they want and helping them make the right decision. I think people need to have a change of perspective when approaching these situations. It's not about you. It's about them.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, without getting, too deep on myself, I look at myself now. Obviously, hindsight's a beautiful thing, and I'm a little bit older, and got children and stuff. But I see myself as a servant. That might seem really bizarre, but I definitely see like what I've experienced in life and what I've been through. Being younger, being older, and all the knowledge. I'm here to like just give to other people. I do struggle, with that balance of like making sure I'm giving back to myself, recharging and things like that. But I'm definitely a servant, and I don't know the people that I see thrive in a giving industry, like, health and fitness. You've been a trainer, nutritionist and stuff. The people that I see really thrive are those that are just prepared to just give it out, help people no matter what, all the time. Those that are just in it for the money, like Alex said, potentially go find something else to do, because the industry needs those servants, needs those givers, because a lot of people need healing. There's more obesity now in the world than there's ever been, but there's fucking like X amount, how many more fucking trainers? What's that all about? We need those givers, in my opinion.
And then the cool thing about all that is the biggest givers, like you said, they will get rewarded the most anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So it goes full circle. Like if you're the biggest giver, you're going to be the biggest receiver. How you do one thing, it's a mirror and you get it back. And it's the same with if you're not prepared to spend money on yourself, then why the fuck would anyone spend money on you?
Correct.
Right? If you're not going to invest in you, if you're not going to have the courage to invest in yourself, people are not going to see the confidence to invest in you. Right? And I like to think of it as a mirror. So like if you do one thing, then you should get that back. So if you give, eventually you're going to get back because it's reciprocation, right? And it's the people that give the most in this industry that will get the most. Yep. So it's about having that mindset, about going into it and just giving and helping, and you'll get everything you want back in return. I think it was Zig Ziglar said, there's a quote from him. Is it Zig Ziglar? Oh no, I think it was Jim Rohn. I think Jim Rohn's passed now. You'll know Jim, won't you? You'll listen to all that.
Our Jim. Old Jim. I like old Jim.
Old guys. He says something like, if you help people get what they want, you'll get everything that you want.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And he was referencing both fulfillment and money, and whether money brings fulfillment for you as an individual. Yeah, that's totally totally yours to jam. But yeah, absolutely, mate, absolutely. Something else came up, but it's gone now because I'm thinking of Jim Rohn and Zig Ziglar. And I've run out of coffee as well.
While we're on that point, because like I think it's like good to be able to like look at people in the marketplace and get ideas, and really upskill in these areas. Because going back to the point we made before about people not wanting to be salesy or pushy or all that stuff, generally it's because they don't know what to do. I don't know how to play tennis, so I fucking hate it. Right? I don't know how to do a lot of things, and generally I don't like those things because I can't do them. Whereas sales, I've spent time investing it, learning in it, and with business, and I enjoy it. Like I get up and like, how can I improve my sales? How can I get better at it? I want to test it out. And it's like enjoyable, but it wasn't always like that. And I'm sure it wasn't the same for you. I'm sure it was uncomfortable. It felt uncomfortable going through sales processes and all these things. But then you started like investing in programs, looking at other people, buying books, reading books, trying things, testing things. Like, what are some of the resources that you've used that anyone could access right now to really just help upskill themselves in sales and make it a more comfortable process so they can do that thing and actually bring people into their businesses?
Oh yeah, got it. I think I'm arguably an overthinker, so I've got a great memory as well. So if you sort of fall into the same category as me, where you remember interactions that you have with people, and you like to analyze that stuff that's just being said, so that's basically the equivalent to recording a call. So if you can do that and then go back over things that were said and turning points in conversations, that's obviously absolutely free. That's a free resource to you. And if you've got someone that you can ask, hey, this person said this, what? Yeah, because again, I don't know have you guys got a free group, Alex?
Yeah, we've got a Facebook group with about 420 Fit Pros in there now.
There you go, right?
Completely.
So as we're recording this, Alex has got a free group, right? So I'm pretty sure Alex would be more than happy for those that have had weird questions or turning points in conversations with sales. Go and ask in the group. Ask for feedback on what would you do next? And Alex or one of his team or business partner will be able to pipe in and maybe help you a little bit. So there's one way of doing it. YouTube, actually, I'm a bit of a YouTuber. I like watching videos and stuff. And there's a few interesting people on there. I'm not a fan of him per se, but I like some of the bits he says. Like Dan Locke, he's quite an interesting guy to watch. He's I think he calls himself the king of high ticket sales.
Yeah, I was watching an interview with him with I think it was Vince Del Monte the other day. He's got a £3 million a month funnel right now, so he is doing big money. But yeah, he brand himself as the high ticket closer, right?
I love it. And then there's so him, I've watched a few of his videos. I think there's some good things about objections and stuff like that. The only thing I do find about Dan sometimes is some of his stuff's a bit obnoxious. So the way he would potentially talk to someone, if I spoke to a fellow Yorkshire person like that, they'd just slap me around the face and walk off. Right, so sometimes little nuances from where you're from, you might have to allow for those things. So I would never expect an American to be able to teach me how to sell to my fellow people and community. You're going to know those people better than anyone. So there's the little insider. So YouTube's a great resource. Look for sales stuff. I think the Wolf of Wall Street guy does some videos. There's Whiteboard Wednesday and stuff like that. He's a great guy to listen to. And there's a bunch of books as well, which I think is amazing. That you can pick books up off Amazon. I could order a book now and it'd be here in 12 hours. A lot of it, with sales, I wouldn't say there's a specific book that'll say go pick that up and it's going to fucking change your sales life. Most of those books that I've just referenced to do with changing your headspace, and feeling good about yourself and learning about business. In terms of actual or potential frameworks, again, Alex probably gives sales frameworks away to you guys and helps you out with stuff like that. I think you're better off doing something like that that's specific to your industry and that's understood by an expert like Alex and his team, rather than looking out to other places.
We took a little bit of a segue there in terms of the books and stuff, but I want to bring it back round to a couple of things that you touched on, which is obviously the mindset stuff, but also the confidence. Because I find this to be one of the most fundamental things in the process of building a business and sales as well. And we were having this chat, weren't we, about how people sell their programs have always got certain things in there. Mindset's always in there. It's always in these programs.
Yeah.
These programs, you can't escape it. And it's because it's so important. And once you start acknowledging that, you see people talking about it all the time. So if you look at anyone that's successful at selling or building a business or doing anything amazing, they always reference back to the way they think or their habits or their confidence or their belief systems.
Yeah.
And I find that a lot with our students is the ones who are winning generally have winning mindsets. Yeah, they've got the mindset that I'm going to make this work. I've got the confidence. I've got the tools. I'm going to execute on it. And they have their dips and their down days. But generally speaking, they're controlling their mindset better than people that are not doing as well. And they're getting better results because they're just going into the situations feeling positive versus feeling negative. Yeah. And I think like just this thing alone, even if you didn't have a better sales script, even if you didn't have better marketing, if you just had a better mindset, you'd actually get more clients. What's your thoughts on that?
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. If you're a victim mentality, you know, crying about woe is me all the time and stuff, people aren't going to want to come and work with you. They'll be repelled. They'll potentially look at you as weak and want to try and help you, you know, and give you handouts. Whereas if you're the leader, because people want to be led by other people, there's this real lack of leaders right now because there's this followership mentality, you know, with everything that we're doing. You don't need to look at reality TV and the way that social media is to see that. There's not actually a great deal of strong-minded, you know, thick-backed individuals that know how to pick people up out of the dirt and get them fucking moving. Really fucking simple. So if you can work, and the problem with this as well is you have to be, just like wanting to be in the industry and be a giver, you have to genuinely want to be a leader. And if you can do that, and you can then take on the responsibility of what being a leader means, that means then you have to wake up every day and fulfill that and fill those fucking boots. And by doing that, people will look at you and be like, I want to be led by that guy. I want to be led by that woman. They are powerful. I want them to fucking drag me through the dirt. I trust, you know, because the conviction that they do everything with, that they're going to be able to help me through that situation as well. So most definitely, if you like imagine a life of where you are the leader and you're like pulling these people along and you're helping everybody and you've got this like tribe around you, the first person you need to start with is yourself. You know, so a couple of books that honestly really changed my perspective on this and opened my eyes, like The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. Hendricks like the gin, not Jimmy. What's the other one? Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway by Susan Jeffers. Very simple ways of explaining about fear and about the upper limiting syndrome that we all suffer from, no matter who you are, whether you're Richard Bloody Branson or whether you're Sue from next door. Two really great books. And again, just help you step into and strip back what's been covering up, you know, who you really are.
I love that book, by the way. Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway.
Yeah, I'm rereading it again now. So I'm just harping on about it to everybody that I meet and see at the minute. I'm like, got to read it again. It's a bloody brilliant book. Bloody brilliant that book is. $6.99 off Amazon Prime. Go get it.
He's making commissions off the back of it, guys. He's a true sales guy. He's probably got an affiliate link.
If only I had, I would definitely make at least 8 pence on every book.
Why don't we just dive into a couple of principles there? Because like one of the things I want to do more on this podcast is like veer into the mindset and self-care and all these things, because I think they're just as important as all the strategies that you can deploy, because one without the other is not as potent. And I really want to equip people with the skills they actually need, which is one, controlling their mind and looking after themselves, but also having then the strategies, the skills, the approaches to then execute and build a business versus just sitting in a corner and just meditating. So like feel the fear and do it anyway. What are some of like the key principles from there that you like that everyone should know?
Yeah, got it. I think the thing that really stood out a couple of days ago when I read through it, and I've been preaching it a little bit because it just reminded me, was she talks about like 3 levels of fear and how it was like this top stuff, and it's like, oh, scared of this relationship ending or this happening, rejection. Level 2 goes a little bit deeper. And I can't remember exactly what she coined as level 2, but basically level 3 is what we want to be understanding of ourselves and other people. And basically, when we boil it down into its potency, the fear is basically I can't handle it. Like whatever's coming up, you just don't have the confidence to be able to handle it, which is just preposterous. If you're listening to this right now, you've got through however many years of your life. Number one, you were bloody born. So you survived like the hardest test that anybody's ever going to have to go through, swimming through stuff with no arms and legs and then surviving for however many months. You fucking made it. Congratulations. You're fucking special. You can pretty much handle anything else that's thrown at you. It's really difficult to kill a human being, believe it or not. So that for me is a real standout thing. He's like, here's the secret. She sort of alludes to. She says, basically, people are scared that they can't handle it. So, yeah, that was a really important one.
We'll stick this book in the show notes. I think everyone should read that book.
Yeah.
It would be a good place to start when it comes to like self-development or reading books if you're not already in this sort of space. I'm glad you reminded me of that one as well. I'll be reading that one again.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm terrible. I'm terrible. Like my attention span, if you can't tell by the speed that I talk, I'm quite excitable. I love being with people. That's like where I thrive. So sometimes, sitting down, if you're like one of these people where you're like, oh, I can't read, fucking I'll really struggle. I'm the same. Like one of my goals for this year was basically to read a book a month. So far I've started 5 books and I've only been about a quarter to halfway through each one. But I try my best, right? I absorb the stuff that I'm reading, but then I'm like, I just want to go and action this stuff. Come back to that book, 2-3 weeks later, I'm like, yeah, I need something fresh now. But definitely a skill I'm working on. But yeah, if you can plow through some of these books that Alex is recommending, I'll fucking change your life. It's like cheapest education you'll ever get. I guarantee that.
Yeah, if you take action on it, which is the key thing.
Yes, of course.
So as I just want to say thank you so much for jumping on. Can't believe we're already an hour into this. I think your big intro got us through.
Sorry, mate. I don't know how long these normally last for you, but I could just sit here and talk to you all day. You're so nice, Alex.
It's been good chatting with a fellow sales guy. And anyone that wants to learn more about you, so about your approaches, like your methods, the 3C method, everything you're doing right now, what's the best way to connect with you, Rich?
Oh, just Facebook. I tried. I set up an Instagram account a few months ago, and I was like, I don't know. I just don't get along with Instagram at all. So yeah, Facebook, most definitely the best place. But you'll see all sorts of stuff from me on there, stuff about my kids and the business and stuff like that. So if you're not into, watching pictures of my children come up, then you probably don't want to connect with me because I'm a bit of a fucking family guy. But yeah, just search my name, Rich Wellington, and at the minute my profile picture is me with a big smile and a blue t-shirt on.
You've also got a podcast too as well, which I think people should check out for sure if they want to upgrade their sales. What's that called?
Oh yeah. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. Yeah, it's the Transformative Sales Podcast. And funnily enough, the artwork for that, it's the same as my headshot on Facebook. So you'll see that there. But yeah, I've had some great guys and girls on that so far. It's been brilliant. Hopefully, Alex will come on, but now he needs to expect that we'll probably be talking for an hour and a half.
Yeah. All right, we're going to chuck that into the show notes as well, so we can direct people back to your show. Go check that out, guys. But I want to thank you so much, Rich, for coming on. It's been awesome jamming with you.
Oh, my pleasure, dude. My pleasure. Loved it, and thanks, thanks everyone for listening. But I think the most important thing for people that have been listening today, Alex, is like if there's something that you've like learned and it's been like an aha moment, as we all call it, a little bit of a fucking breakthrough. Now, like, continue to explore that. Like Alex said before, it's like it's all about the action that you take. It's all right learning stuff, but I'd rather be around the person that learns once, but then actions 10,000 times than the other way around. Learns 10,000 things, but only takes one action.
So, man, love it. All right, man, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much again for joining us on the show, Rich.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, dude.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episodes. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you did enjoy the show, I would be really grateful if you could leave a short review or post a comment on what you'd like to hear in future episodes. And if you're a face-to-face personal trainer with room to take on additional clients, head over to coachingignited.com, where you can apply for our 30-day Client Accelerator program and find out more about our business, sales and marketing training platform. See you on the next episode.